Hello, welcome to the Comic Quest Prologue. I'm your host, Joey the JAG. And today we're going to be doing a film reaction for the brand new trailer of Snow White created by Disney. So let's get into it. Please leave a like on the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and share the video with those that love comics, manga, webcomics, anime, movies, and video games. And without further ado, thank you for your awesome support. Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here. I don't know what is going on with this Snow White. Everything is CGI. Like, when you create a film based on CGI, but not on main actresses, in fact, that can actually act, you're only relying on CGI. You're relying on special effects CGI. And people are going to find flaws in the CGI. Now, remember Pinocchio? Yeah, reimagining of Pinocchio, and not even Tom Hanks, an Academy Award winner actor, could hold that film together because the CGI was so bad. Like, it was so unwatchable. Films like these films, as you watch them, you can start to see a little bit of that, start to see how dated it is, right? So when you rely too much on CGI, people are going to start seeing how certain things look hollow, okay? And that's the bad thing about relying on CGI.
So, whistle while you work.
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here. Rachel Zegler. She is really not doing anyone any favors by grabbing the IP and destroying it and thinking you are the best actress, but you're not. Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here. That Snow White is labeled the fairest one of all. In this incarnation, in Disney's version of the Snow White story, is that the Wicked Queen, played by Gal Gadot, is beautiful, but no one can beat her beauty. And her beautifulness is supposed to be beyond the realm. She's beautiful. Snow White, on the other hand, is more beautiful than her because she is the fairest of them all. But when you zoom in on Rachel Zegler, she doesn't seem to look like she's the fairest one of all. She doesn't seem to really express great character dynamic of who Snow White is. She looks like a boss lady. She looks Latina. This should have been Snow Brown, not Snow White. Okay? And her face, her facial expression doesn't have the beauty to match even the evil queen. Okay, and Snow White is supposed to be beautiful because of her fairness, because of her smarts, because of her skills and what she can do. That's why she's beautiful, because she has a beautiful heart as well and a beautiful mind. Okay, and she has an amazing voice to the point that animals love her. That's how pure her heart is. So that's why. But Rachel Zegler doesn't have any Snow White properties, like, at all. Like, she whistles and she dances, but even that feels cheesy.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?
Okay, I'm gonna pause it right here. Her acting, it's so hollow. It's so bad. Why would you hire a Latina to portray Snow White? Her name is Snow White. the story of Snow White, because her mom, when she was knitting, she poked her finger and the blood fell on some like snow. And she looked at the snow and she said, I would like to have a daughter with ruby red lips. And she saw like a raven in a tree and raven dark hair. And she saw the snow and went, and skin as white as snow, not brown, as white as snow. That's from the story. That's from the adaptation. That's what you need to do to borrow an adaptation and make something that is borrowed from an IP, because that's the story. Now, there are things that have been changed in certain like Snow White stories, like Snow White and the Huntsman. But the reason why that is different is because it's not Disney. Okay, it's Snow White and the Huntsman. It's a story that was created by someone else, and they used the story to make the film. That's the difference, is that Snow White and the Huntsman is about Snow White and the Huntsman. This movie is Snow White and made from an adaptation by Disney's original film made by a fairy tale of Snow White. And that's the story. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was the first film that started everything, the animated renaissance of movies that we see today. If it wasn't for Snow White, we wouldn't be here standing today talking about this version of Snow White, because that's how popular it is. Every time they throw out an anniversary of Snow White, it sells like hotcakes. It is the one you gotta see to believe, to understand that fairy tales can happen if you believe, and children need that hope in their lives, especially now. People need something to believe in and have faith in, even if it's not real or not. They need something to give them hope, whether you're a boy or a girl. And together, you need to unite together to be one, to be a whole world. And that is being the fairest of them all. I don't think people are going to enjoy this film, but the trailer doesn't show at all the prince. Like one little snippet of like the prince. Rachel Zegler says, you know, there is no prince, you know, in this. He doesn't wait on the prince to come and save her. So because she's a boss lady, you know, when the witch gives Snow White the apple and she bites it and she falls asleep and the prince comes and kisses her and she wakes up, that's like a great story for a lot of children that see that and say, wow, dreams can come true. Even if there's struggles, you can always believe in things and it can happen, right? Even if it doesn't happen. That's what fairy tales are. They're about believing in something. And the thing about this that kind of gets a lot of gripe is that this version of Rachel Zegler, because she's a boss lady, she is strong, powerful, and can know things before it can happen. So when the witch gives her the apple, I'm pretty sure she doesn't even bite the apple. She probably throws it into the river and it falls and that's it. Like, she's so smart. Because remember, Snow White is actually naive, she's pure-hearted, and people that are pure-hearted, they don't really see bad people, even if they're bad or good. When pure-hearted people see people, they see everyone the same, whether they're good, have good intentions or bad intentions, and that's Snow White. She's pure-hearted. Think of Goku from Dragon Ball. Goku is pure-hearted. Snow White is pure-hearted. These are characters that have like don't know the difference between what's good and bad. They don't know. They only know that if someone says that person is bad, then that person is bad, but to even give that bad person like an opportunity to be good. That's how Snow White is. And in this case, I'm pretty sure Snow White doesn't eat the apple because she doesn't want the prince to come. That way, that's why she was saying the prince doesn't come to save her. No, she doesn't eat the apple. So what probably ends up happening is that the evil queen goes back to her castle and looks at the mirror and says, mirror, mirror on the wall, did Snow White die by eating the apple? And the mirror says, no, she didn't even eat the apple. And the evil queen probably says, you know what? fine, we're gonna go to war. And you know what? I'm gonna get my army and we're gonna attack Snow White and those little 7 dwarves. And so that's probably what happens. And Snow White gathers the 7 dwarves and recruits them as warriors. And then now Snow White and her army of 7 dwarves and animals and all things creatures have to fight the evil queen's army. And that's what Snow White and the 7 Dwarfs is probably. A huge clash at the end, a huge war. Snow White ends up defeating the evil queen, and she becomes the most powerful person in the world. And that's Snow White in the Rachel Zegler version.
That's how bad this movie is, that people thought Bambi will be in Snow White. Like, who can blame them, right?
But anyways, that's it for the video. I just wanted to give my reaction to this trailer. I am a huge fan of actually the animated Disney films, like the hand-drawn animated films. I like the 2D2 and the CGI when it plays well with it. I like Pixar as well. But lately, they haven't really striked really well with these CGI grand Disney films that become flops. I did like Aladdin, and I didn't like Lion King, unfortunately. It just didn't hold the same as the original movie did. For some reason, I just couldn't bear it. I didn't like Pinocchio. I did like Beauty and the Beast. Like, I thought that film was good, but maybe that's a guilty pleasure because I went to go see it with my mom, and I kind of took her for like a Mother's Day. So that's the only difference, that I probably like Beauty and the Beast, and it's pretty good actually. But other than that, Disney, since Maleficent, I believe, hasn't really hit it. It's always been boss girl, boss girl, boss girl, princess. And no longer Disney princesses are actual humanistic people with struggles and identity that everyone else has that people can relate to. No more. Everyone is now the best and the strongest and the greatest. That's Disney princess boss ladies now. So anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.